you, Bill. Gretzmakers. These are the guys I like the most. The guys who are 180 degrees in opposition to me. But I like them for one basic reason. They're basically honest men. There are people who have views and opinions that I really disagree with, but they're honest about them. And they make some kind of an effort, no matter how feeble it may be, to justify, to back them up, to explain them. What I don't like are people who are hypocrites. People who harbor pretty much the same thoughts and ideas as the Dukes and the Gretzmakers, but don't have the gazungas, to come out and say it. Dance around it. Let me give you a couple of examples. In the monologue phase of the first hour, I talked about a couple of stories. One of the stories I talked about was the guy that got the year in the racial attack. Not one person in the course of that first hour addressed the question that I asked, which was real simple. How'd you like to explain this one to the blacks who are always saying this is a racist society? How'd you explain that one to them? Because you know as well as I do that if it was some kind of a black militant who pulled stunts like that and then ran off to California and became a real estate salesman and was even salesman of the year and was picked up 5 years later and was genuinely given a slap across the wrist. People because it's a white kid in L.A. They weren't just Negroes. They were Negroes from Jamaica. Yeah, hey, it's no big deal. He rehabilitated himself. He was a good real estate salesman. That's hypocrisy. That angers me very much. I mean, if you had the guts to say, well, hey, look, there were darkies, and he's one of us. That wouldn't anger me. I feel very sorry for you, but it wouldn't anger me. That last caller, or caller before last, I think it was the last caller, who brought up most of the victims in the Eyler case apparently were male prostitutes. Wonder had there been, 20, 30, 40 nuns killed and their families clamoring to know the details and the whereabouts. I wonder if that would, weigh a little bit more heavily than the gay boys' families. And again, I could understand, if you'd say, well, hey, come on, they were gay dudes, I could live with that. I just can't live with hypocrisy. That's what I have a real tough time. That's what angers me, Angers me an awful lot. All I've ever asked you to do is to be honest. I never asked you to try to please me. I never asked you to agree with me. All I've ever asked you to do as an audience is to be honest. Which is why, by the way, I got really distraught with the guy from Kansas who said my alleged concerns. If nothing else, I'm honest with you. I don't try to be happy when I'm not. I don't pretend to be in a good mood when I'm not. If I say something, it's because I believe it. It may be right, it may be wrong. And I'm even honest enough to tell you when I know that my position or my views are not rational, they're simply emotional. And that's all I ever ask of you. I mean, having a conversation with people who will not be 100% up front is very frustrating for me. I do not enjoy it in the least. I understand bigotry. I understand prejudice. I understand hatred. I understand irrationalism. I understand emotionalism. I suffer from all of them. Every day in every way. I don't come in here and try to please you by telling you what you want to hear. Why in the hell do you think you have to please me by telling me what I want to hear? I've never asked anybody to pick up a telephone and dial that number and try to please me by telling me what I want to hear. Have the courtesy, have the courage to speak your heart. I'm going to ask the questions again. How, in God's name, would you try to explain to a black person that sentence, that slap across the wrist, treating it as though it were mischief, is not proof positive of what the blacks are constantly complaining about, that this is a quote-unquote racist society? How would you try to explain it? No, that was justice. That was reasonable punishment for the crimes. How? That's what I asked. That's what I'm going to ask again. Now, I suppose there are really only a couple of possible answers here. I wouldn't, because I don't think they're owed an explanation. Was racism. Let them grow up and live with it. Or there's nothing I could possibly say. It is what it appears to be, and I'm ashamed of it. These are the right answers, the true answers. In the case of Eyler, think about what I suggested. A couple of dozen nuns and their families. A couple of dozen gay kids and their families. And whether or not it enters into your decision, your feelings. They're reasonable questions. And of course, you totally, across the board, stayed away from a 14-year-old kid who's been running around harassing black families. The telephone number is 591-8900. 591-8900. Off it is to LaPorte. Hello there, LaPorte. You're on the air at WLS.
Hello, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Very good. First of all, I'd like to tell you that your Saturday night show is excellent. And I've enjoyed listening to you on the way home from work every day. As far as Larry Eylers and these lost people, as I like to call them, I had an aunt who went through her son missing in action in Vietnam. And I'm here to tell you that when they finally found him, which was totally by accident, if you remember the denying syndrome, where they took it and they gave it back, and they took it and they gave it back. And he was missing in action for 3 months. When they finally found him, and he was dead. And just the simple fact that they found him and were able to send the body home was such a relief. And I can remember her crying, and I can remember them sending the body home. And
but you can go on with your life when you know, and that's so important.
It's incredible. The relief is incredible. If he can relieve 17 families,
he could relieve one.
Let him relieve them.
If he could relieve one, who in the hell are we to sit in judgment for those 17 families?
And what the hell's the difference if they kill him now or let him sit in jail until he dies naturally? I mean, it's no big deal. I mean,
it has no effect on your life. It has no effect on my life. It has no effect on anyone's life. But answering those questions could have profound effect on many lives.
That's right. And the few dollars that it would cost. I mean, when you put everything in perspective, the dollar amount is minuscule when you talk about 17 families. And you figure that there's at least, 30 people to a family that's close when you talk about aunts, uncles, and cousins. And you multiply 30 times 17, that's a whole hell of a lot of, excuse my language, that's a lot of relief.
Thank you much. 591-8900, 591-8900. Blue Island. Hi, Blue. You're on the air at WLS.
Hello, Bob.
Hi.
I have to agree with you 100% on that racial firebombing. The guy was rehabilitated. That's wonderful. That means he didn't try to kill 4 people. One of Manson's family is now a born-again Christian. Let's let him go so he can spread the word of peace and love. This guy tried to kill 4 people. There's no excuse for it.
6.
Let's throw him in a slammer for 15 or 20 years and hope he's still rehabilitated when he gets out. There's no excuse for trying to kill somebody. He didn't like the color of their skin. That's too bad. He got a right to live just like anybody else. I've got a right to live, so do you, so does he. I don't attack society. I don't think you have.
Well, again, let's keep this in proper perspective. He was not charged. The charges were dropped on the arson. He was never even charged with attempted murder, although he should have been. However, he does admit to, in essence, saying to this particular family, you should die. You have no rights. You're scum. You're not human beings. He did everything in his power to intimidate and insult and threaten them. And for that, he gets a year?
I think it's disgusting. It's a sad... Well, we don't have a justice system in this country. We've got a legal system, and that proves it right there.
Well, we have a justice system, but it proves there is no justice within that system. None whatsoever.
Well, I might disagree with you on the talking about the system, legal versus justice. But you're right. There's no excuse for this whatsoever. This guy should be doing time, hard time, for a long time.
But it isn't so much the system it is to blame. It is the society that just shrugs its shoulders and couldn't care less.
I think there are... I don't think it's a society so much because people do care. We're talking...
Really? I got 3 calls on the board. One of them wants to talk about it.
Well...
And there are, 15, 20,000 people out there right now listening.
Well, maybe some of them don't even want to try to call up. Maybe some of them feel like we do. Maybe the majority of them do. I have to hope that is the way we feel. The majority of us. I believe people are basically good. I've also got enough common sense to realize there's some scum who ought to be thrown in a slammer for the protection of the society which they willingly attack.
Thank you much. 591-8900 to Morton Grove. It is Morton. You're on the air at WLS.
Yeah, hi, Bob.
Hi.
Hi, Bob. Maybe we can make a switch. One of us can pull the switch for Larry Eyler, and you can pull the switch for that guy in Hickory Hills. Well?
Well, what?
Do you think that'd be pretty fair?
Sir, I'm not even going to dignify it. Is that all you had to say?
Well, no. It's kind of sad when you talk about free speech and how you believe it and everything like that, but anyone disagrees with you or brings up something controversial, you keep talking at them, don't let them ever say what they want to say.
Really?
Yeah, really, you know that.
It's amazing.
So really had you going.
Sir, first of all, she was on for almost 10 minutes. And secondly, sir, I go out of my way to solicit opposition, I don't go out of my way to
like you
solicit
said,
people.
To be controversial and aggravate people. But I think she really had you going. There's another guy who had you going, too. I mean, they really outsmarted you this time.
Oh.
Well, don't you think they did?
No, sir, I don't.
Do you think you win every single conversation? I know you're saying...
No, sir, it wasn't. If you want to talk about the woman, it wasn't a matter of winning. She was almost incoherent. She wasn't making any sense.
No, she made a lot
just
of
like your opening comment made no sense at all. I'm not winning the conversation with you, sir. There is no competition.
Well, what do you think about that idea? Like, you get to pull the switch on that kid. Because I know you're for capital punishment. You said so. Maybe you could hire yourself out as an executioner. In case your ratings aren't good next year. Well, it's just a suggestion. I mean, you don't have to go, get so soured about it. One of my favorite conversations of yours, still off the subject, I remember when you were yelling at that guy about the stock market, how we're all in for economic doom, but only you knew what was going to go on, and if anyone knew about charting, they'd be shorting the market like crazy. You were making millions. I thought you'd be retired by now. How are you doing with that strategy?
Fine, thank you, sir. I'm a short-term trader. I trade both long and short.
Oh, have you made your millions yet?
I'm doing okay, thank you.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it, but not quite enough you have to retire.
No, sir.
Well, you're coming along pretty good. I think that, the next few months and so you should have more opportunities, and maybe you'll write a book about how you succeeded in the stock market.
I doubt it very much.
Well, you must be a good writer, too. You're a very good talker.
I am a very good writer, sir.
Oh, okay, well, that's a good thing. Is you and Rush Limbaugh, maybe you can collaborate on a book, give both sides of the story.
I'm not interested in writing a book, sir.
But you have so much to say.
I've already told you that.
But you have a lot to say. If you have a lot to say, a lot of people could benefit. I mean...
Tinley Park. Hi, Tinley. You're on the air at WLS.
Yeah, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, you made the statement of how we're supposed to justify how we're not prejudiced against black people.
No, I said nothing of the kind.
About the guy bombing the house?
I just simply asked how you would explain it.
Do what?
I just simply asked how you would explain it.
Well, that's just an isolated case. I mean, it's a strange situation, of course.
That should satisfy me.
Well, I mean, what do you... I think the guy ought to be go through rehabilitation, of course.
Going through rehabilitation, what do you mean?
Well, for the situation, what he did, firebombing isn't exactly a normal thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you rehabilitate people?
Well, find out what happened. I mean, you know, you got to backtrack into their past.
Uh-huh. And then?
Well, you just can't keep putting people in prison.
Oh. Can't keep putting people in prison who try to kill other people for no reason under the sun outside of the fact that...
Well, like I said,
don't like the race they are.
Definitely it wasn't a normal...
I guess you'd probably like to rehabilitate Eyler. No, of course not. No, it's a different story.
Well, you got your psychotics that need to... but I don't believe you should put people in jail all their life. Wouldn't let the taxpayer take care of it. If you can rehabilitate them, rehabilitate them. If you can't, well, there's capital punishment. What do? You fill the jails up to where we ain't got any more space? Or what do? Keep building more jails?
So either kill them or let them go.
Well, what are you going to do? How far do we go on this situation? How much money you keep pumping back into the system? Obviously, it's not working.
And
you build more prisons, you hire more guards, and then where do we go?
$591-8900, the telephone number.
Hello, you people. This is Rush Limbaugh. Sort of feeling my oats. This past week was an incredible week. The first week of the new year in which it looks like it's going to be the year of Limbaugh. So many things happened the first week that I told you would happen last year. Next week, beginning Monday, what else will happen to confirm that I'm right? Tune in Monday, 1 o'clock, and find out here on WLS Talk Radio 890.
It's a new year, and First National Equity offers new opportunities to save with the lowest interest in 4.5 years. While the cost of borrowing for your home is so low, refinance your mortgage or consolidate your debts. First National Equity offers first mortgages as low as 9% fixed rate, or ask about their special program of fixed-rate mortgages starting at 6%. Save thousands by converting your 30-year first mortgage to a 15-year with First National Equity's low rate, or consolidate your debts with a home equity loan. Interest on home equity loans is lower than credit card interest, and it's tax deductible. Call toll-free 1-800-582-5001. Good or bad credit, there's a plan you qualify for, even if you've been turned down before. No application fee. Get low rates and fast service on first or second mortgages. Call First National Equity toll-free from Illinois or Indiana. 1-800-582-5001. 1-800-582-5001.
Now there's a magical reading course on cassettes called Hooked on Phonics, which makes learning to read simple. Simple because Hooked on Phonics is set to music. This way kids learn phonics quickly, like a song. And when they master phonics, they can read and spell almost everything. So if you want your preschooler to become an excellent reader, or if there's an older student who needs reading help, call 1-800-ABCDEFG. That's 1-800-ABCDEFG.
We're covering the issues you're talking about at home, at work, and other places. We're WLS Talk Radio 890. Call 591-8900. 591-8900. Now, here's Bob Lassiter.
Louisiana. Hi there, Lou. You're on the air at WLS.
Hey, Bob. How you doing? I'm listening for the first time this evening, and I find it real interesting. I just wanted to make a comment about the Eyler case. Criminal justice system that you touched on a little bit earlier and victims' rights are just about mutually exclusive. The criminal justice system is set up to deal with criminals. It's not set up to deal with victims. And however much we may empathize with the victim, the criminal justice system is solely to deal with criminals. And likewise in the other case, the case about the kid who got the year, if he was not charged with the arson or attempted murder, he should have been. The whole issue is that the criminal justice system found him guilty of that. Now, whether we agree with it or not, that's the system of justice we have in this country.
The criminal justice system has many purposes, and one of the purposes is to arrive at the truth.
That's correct.
And in this particular case, we apparently have quite a number of cases where we have not arrived at the truth.
But once again, like the gentleman who mentioned earlier about cutting off the fingers or whatever, it would be easy for us to say, well, we did not arrive at the truth this time, even though the criminal justice system says he's not guilty, we know he's guilty, so he should have gotten more. If the criminal justice system is going to be correct sometime, then it's going to have to be correct all the time. We're going to have to choose to live by that if we choose to be American. It may not
all fine and well, but there are apparently at least 17 cases floating out there in which someone has been suspected, has been more or less accused, although not tried for those cases. This individual is offering to clear up some of those cases so that they can finally, once and for all, be put to rest. I suppose there's a distinct possibility that he is not responsible for all 17, may be responsible for 16 or 15 or 12 or 9. Therefore, the criminal justice system is apparently deciding that, well, those people, those victims who died, whether or not we ever arrive at the truth, whether or not we ever punish the individual or individuals who are genuinely responsible for the death is important.
Well, we have a little question almost as parallel to double justice. If you're tried for a crime and found not guilty, you cannot be retried for that same crime again. Well, this guy was found guilty of one crime, and according to our criminal justice system, he was sentenced to death. Now, can he say, well, wait a minute now, I'm not, you remove this sentence?
No, he cannot. No, he cannot. No one suggested that he can, but the system itself can say, well, that's a very interesting possibility. We may wish to go along with this. It's not up to Eyler. The debate is not whether or not Eyler should be allowed to. The debate is whether or not the criminal justice system should take advantage of doing one of the things that it's supposed to do, arrive at the truth.
Yeah, but once again, the criminal justice system is just that. It has arrived at the truth in this particular situation, and it has said this man has been found guilty. Now, the criminal justice system cannot accommodate, just due to its very nature of dealing with criminals, as much as we may want it to, and as much as we may feel for the victims and for their families. It's not built to accommodate the victims.
Well, I don't think there's any indication whatsoever that people have any feelings for the victims and their families. I don't think there's any indication of that at all. And I think that perhaps one of the reasons might be is because who and what the victims supposedly were.
Well, I myself, in my job, I run into a lot of what-if questions. Well, this may be true, but what if? Well, we can always say what if, and we can say whether we empathize or not with the victims or the families, or whether we indeed empathize with the criminal himself. But the point is, the criminal justice system has found this man guilty.
And the criminal justice system has ignored the other 11 or the other 17 people. The criminal justice system is failing.
That's real unfortunate. And as far as the other question goes, the gentleman that got sentenced to a year, your question is a rhetorical question. I mean, anyone would be, like you say, there's only really two possible answers. Unfortunately, we do live in a racist society. It's racist both ways. Blacks against whites, whites against blacks, Hispanics against, Latino, whatever. I mean, we live in a racist society just because we're human beings. The criminal justice system found him guilty of that, whether we like it or not. We have to live with it as Americans, because that is the justice system we live under, and it's a heck of a lot.
No, we don't have to live with it. We don't have to live with it at all. As a matter of fact, it's quite counterproductive to live with it. Yet, in this particular case, the sentence stands, and it would be indeed double jeopardy to go back in and say, well, no, we're going to give it 30 years for it. However, a public outcry might help ensure that it doesn't happen a second time.
That is absolutely correct. However, once again, we have to look at the fact that the system may not be perfect, but it's a good system. We look at, take Iraq, for instance. Your hand literally can be cut off for stealing over there. Your tongue can be cut out for saying something that is against the government official position.
I think you're getting Iraq and Saudi Arabia mixed up.
Well, Saudi Arabia, excuse me.
Iraq doesn't pass, to the best of my knowledge, Muslim
Pardon
law.
me?
Saudi Arabia does.
Well, that's very well. Saudi Arabia doesn't allow women to drive, and Saudi Arabia doesn't allow women to speak in public, and they have to walk behind their husband. So, you know, I mean, look at the situation. Our justice system's not perfect, but by all means, we have to live by it. Otherwise, we would have total chaos, as you've heard from some of your callers. I mean, I've heard some of the most ignorant suggestions on dealing with criminals that I've ever heard in my life. I drove all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana, giggling to myself. And if we did not have this justice system, then we would be dealing with just those kind of people who called you this evening.
Thank you much.
You're welcome.
5918900 to Addison it is. Hello there, Ad. You're on the air at WLS.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, I'm a first-time caller. I'm a little bit nervous. So I'd appreciate it if you'd be gentle with me so that I call again sometime. But I have kind of off-the-wall comments. I was wondering if there was some way that they could extract the truth without the public knowing that he didn't volunteer the information. I mean, you can find a million flaws with that, but it would solve the problem. It wouldn't set a precedent, and the family
kind of
would
like
know
torturing or something. Huh?
About the,
you mean like torturing?
No, not interrogation. I mean, like I said, you can find a million flaws, but...
Well, what exactly did you have in mind?
Okay?
What exactly did you have in mind to extract the truth from it?
Okay,
without the public finding out.
Possibly hypnosis. I don't know. Maybe I've heard of something called truth serum. I don't know what it is really, but supposedly it's supposed to. The people are under this are compelled to tell the truth. I really don't know, but I think there's some way they could solve this without setting a precedent for other killers, other serial killers. At the same time, letting the victims know, the victims' families know what happened to them. Again, I'm not really sure how they'd go about doing it, but I just think there's a way.
In other words, do something against his will.
I'm sorry?
Do something against his will. Like force him to take that truth serum or something.
Yeah, again, you could find a million flaws, there might be some... Again, they don't have to let the public know.
No, of course not.
That's probably not right, but it wasn't right that he killed these people in the first place, so... That's all I wanted to say.
5918900 Ken Key. Hi, Ken. You're on the air at WLS.
Hello. How are you doing, Bob?
Fine, thank you.
I work at Pontiac Correctional Center in the North Cell House where Larry Eyler is kept and condemned. And I'm a staunch supporter of the death penalty because of what I see, who I work with, and from the stuff that I read in the papers. Granted, the media is sometimes giving a one-sided story.
Real scumbags up there, huh?
I'm not. Yeah, they are.
Gee, you're just like Larry Eyler. He saw a lot of scumbags that he thought deserved to die too.
Well, see, it's not so much scumbags, okay, that I think that they're scumbags. They do deserve to die.
Well, that's what Eyler thought about the people he ran into as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's really no difference between you and he.
Well, no. He puts his pants on the same way I do. He puts his pants on the same way you do.
But he deserves to die, not you.
I didn't commit a crime. I did not commit a heinous crime against somebody. I did not take somebody's life while I was committing another crime, another felony.
Well, apparently only because you don't have the nerve to.
No, it's because I've got more brains than that.
Oh, you let somebody else do your killing for you.
Yeah, Okay. No, that's not why I called. The reason why I called is I hear everybody talking about Larry Eyler. Larry Eyler should have his death sentence commuted to natural life for the sake of solving these other 17 murders, or how many ever that he is going to implicate himself with.
That's supposedly what the system is about, arriving at the truth.
Okay, why do we have to deal with a convicted felon, a person who was sentenced to die, committed such a heinous...
Oh, you don't have to at all. You don't have to deal with them at all, sir. There's nothing that requires you to deal with them.
Okay,
it's just
then.
whether or not you're really interested in arriving at the truth, whether or not you're really interested in making sure that people who go around killing other people are properly charged with it.
Why don't we take Larry Eyler and put him through the lethal injection? Regardless of whether or not we find out who killed 17 other
You're not
people.
interested in justice. You're not interested in getting to the truth.
I
You're
am interested
in killing Larry Eyler.
I am interested in, number one, taxpayers' money.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
Yes,
it's 86
financial situation.
Well, that's part of it. $86,000.
Yeah, of course, there might be 17 killers out there that...
Okay, $86,000
you don't care about.
to keep one man on death row. All right, $27,000 of that.
Less than a penny. Less than a penny is your per capita cost for a year of keeping him on death row.
Excuse me?
That's less than 1 cent for a year. That's your per capita cost. Less than a cent. It's about 8/10 of a cent. Yeah.
Well, the $27,000 of that comes to me. Okay.
No, it doesn't. 2/10 of a cent goes to you.
Well, I get...
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about your salary.
My salary that I get for protecting Mr. Eyler from other inmates. I think that once you are sentenced to death, unless the court finds some
That's all fine and well, but you're totally and completely ignoring that there could conceivably be 17 other killers out there.
Right.
That will never be caught. They'll stop looking for them.
Okay.
And you don't care about that.
They won't stop looking for them.
Oh, sure they will, sir, because they'll just consider that Eyler is guilty of all of these. The books are closed on them. They're not out looking for them, sir. They've convinced themselves already that Eyler did it.
Try him on it. Take him back to court and try him on it.
They don't want to do that, sir.
But they want to spare his life. Let him rot in prison.
Nobody wants to spare his life, sir. There are some people who are very interested, though, in getting to the truth and finding out whether or not we should continue to look for the killer of these people.
Well, it seems like what I'm talking about here is something totally different.
Sure is, sir. You're totally ignoring what we're really talking about.
The truth.
The truth.
Okay. If they want to come to the truth, they can sodium pentothal, like that guy from wherever he was that was real nervous that called before I did. That is admissible in court.
Yes, sir, if all parties agree to it. You just don't grab somebody and strap him down and inject him with sodium pentothal.
He does not have the right to say no. Larry Eyler does not. He is his guardian is the state of Illinois. He is in the custody of the Department of Corrections.
Mm-hmm.
They can order that man to do anything they want.
No, they can't, sir.
Yes, they can.
No, they can't.
I tell him every day what to do.
Yeah, sir, but not things like that. Now, you tell him where to stand and what time he'll eat and little things like that.
We don't tell him when to stand. We just deliver his meals
But you
to him.
don't tell him to submit to things that human beings don't have to submit to.
We tell, well, not really, but
no.
I just wanted to make my point known that I just think for the sake of having 17 other killers, because there's going to be 99,000 killers this year that aren't going to get caught.
Really?
Kill Larry
Making them
Eyler.
up as they go
Put
along.
him
What an incredible audience.
lethal injection. Whenever and forget all about it. Go on about our business and get everybody else off in death row and clear death row. Just clear it out. What I think they need to do is to reinstitute public hanging. That'd put a cure to everything.
Sure it would, yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't put a cure to it before, but...
Well, that's because we've got...
But you'd get to see it.
We've got the Illinois Coalition Against the Death Penalty and these liberals...
No, sir. It has nothing to do with the Illinois Coalition Against the Death Penalty. Public hangings didn't deter crime.
Well, no, it's the liberal-minded...
No, it had nothing whatsoever to do with liberals or bleeding hearts or judges or anything like that, sir. Public executions did not deter crime. They were rather grotesque, and proper society felt that publicly executing people so that guys like you could get your jollies from watching them dance was not what the proper people did. It wasn't any kind of a deterrent. It never was. It never will be. It had nothing to do with bleeding heart liberal judges.
Somebody comes to your radio station tonight, not saying it's going to happen, and blows you away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Don't you think your family would want to see justice done and see your killer die?
No, as a matter of fact, my wife wouldn't want to see my killer die.
Would you want to see your wife's killer die?
I doubt it.
You can't tell me that because...
Sure, I can tell you that, sir. Yes, I can tell you that.
Not honest.
No, you see, if it was for my benefit, yes, I'd want to see him die. For yours, no. No, I'm not going to put on a show for you, guy.
For your benefit?
You want to see somebody die? Go out and kill him.
No. Why?
I mean, you want to watch somebody dance at the end of a rope? Go get a rope and go hang somebody. But I'll be damned if I'm going to put the show on for you.
I'm sorry. That's the way...
You are sorry, sir. You're incredibly sorry.
But I get paid well to do that.
Well, if you consider $27,000 a year, well, that's okay with me. Laporte, you're on the air at WLS. Hello, Laporte. Hi.
Yeah, hi, Bob. Thank you for taking my second call. I called earlier, and I...
Earlier tonight?
Yes.
Bye. 591-8900, 591-8900 is the telephone number. The questions remain. They remain. By the way, one call to a customer. We don't play games with 2-3 calls a night. If you didn't get it all in the first time, that's too bad. But the questions remain. And I don't see any sense in asking them again. He was the only call I had, by the way. I don't play games like that. I couldn't care less if it's the only call. But I'll tell you this much. I'm tired of asking the questions. I'm tired of trying to twist your arms. If you're not honest enough to talk to me, then I'm not even going to bother to talk to you. I'll just sit here for the remainder of the show, smoking cigarettes. When you guys are ready to deal with it, you got the telephone number, I believe, right? Okay. You think I'm kidding? No, I don't kid. When the board's full, I'll stop reading the paper. And if that's too much trouble for you, hey, I think there are a couple of great basketball games. And tune into those. Four more to go, by the way. They're actually calling to complain and then hanging up. Amazing. They're under the impression I do this for my health. Got some real jerks calling up to complain that I'm not taking calls but don't want to have anything to say. I don't do shows for people like that. That's the kind of person you are? I'm telling you now. Tune out. You take part in the conversation or else. Simple as that. Number of people calling up to complain that I'm not taking calls is mind-boggling. Just mind-boggling. And 5 lines open. And I'll be damned if I'm going back to the show until they're full. It's as simple as that. Well. Oh, no. Nah, there's a couple more that were just complaining. God, it tricked me for a moment. I thought it was full. It isn't. Well, now we seem to have a full board. Rogers Park. Rogers, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Bob. I was just washing the dishes here. And when I was in the radio business, dead air was a deadly sin, and I just figured I might as well catch up on the dishes here while I was waiting for you. How are you tonight?
Did you have anything to add to the conversation, sir?
Yes, I do.
Well, let's get down to it.
Okay, you want to get down to it. Well, certainly I don't want to make a deal with a person who's in jail on a legitimate charge. I don't see any reason for it. Don't make a deal with him. He should get the...
You don't give a damn if there are 17 killers walking around out there. You just don't want to make a deal.
You mean he's going to tell you the truth, huh? This guy is...
No, you're going to find out, sir, if he's telling you the truth, because he's either going to tell you where they are, and they're there, or they're not.
You should have him tell you what it is he has to know and lie to him, just like he's lied all his life, and then pull the switch on him after he's given you his so-called truth.
Oh, that's civilization, sir. That's society.
Forget civilization.
Right. Sure, forget civilization.
People like this...
Did it ever dawn on you why we have more people in jail and more crime than any other country in the world, sir? Did it never dawn on you?
No.
Did you ever ask yourself why? No, of course not, because you don't care. You don't care that there are 17 people dead. That has no effect on your life. You just want to see somebody executed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, sir.
Absolutely.
Why didn't you tell me that in the first place? Why do I have to drag it out of you?
Because
you don't care about justice.
You insulted.
You don't care about truth.
Not saying a word on the radio. How dare you do that?
How dare I do it? Yes. Get off my phone, you jerk. Well, car phone to the side car. You're on there, WLS.
Yeah, Bob?
Yeah.
I've got a thing now. There's a lot of people killed, and maybe somebody's in jail for those killings that is innocent. So we may be incarcerating innocent people and paying for them. And if Larry Eyler confesses to those crimes, maybe they'll free innocent people. Has that ever occurred to someone?
Obviously, sir, nobody gives a damn why we have crime in this country. Nobody gives a damn about justice. Nobody gives a damn about truth. That's one of the reasons we have the situation that we have.
Well, I think we should get to the bottom and find out all he knows, but that man should never walk the streets again.
There's no danger of him ever walking the streets again, sir. No danger at all.
But, Bob, I wouldn't take things so personally. You're going to get an ulcer. I like listening to you, and I know you're an expert.
I don't like... sir, excuse me, I don't really care for advice from amateurs. Off it is to St. Louis. St. Louis, you're on the air, WLS. Too bad. Well, why aren't they... Stephen Gary rules, one comment from an older person. Why aren't they listening to Stephen Gary? I mean, are we supposed to be impressed with that? I'll call him up and say, Stephen Gary rules. Of course, I'm not listening to Stephen Gary, but that'll show. Unbelievable. Humility is very good, you know. And I try, I know that you don't believe that, but I do try from time to time to practice humility, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I serve it, they haven't.
Well, I mean, when are they going to make it, I mean, how long does they have before they're going to withdraw the plea bargain?
They haven't offered any plea bargains, sir. He's asked for one.
Eyler's asked for one?
Yes, sir.
Well, then, I just kind of think that maybe they should wait. I mean, he's not going anywhere, right? He's still locked up. Why don't they wait till they offer something to the other co-defendant?
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Well...
Aren't you interested in getting to the truth, sir?
Sure, I'm very interested.
Aren't you interested to, if indeed he is not guilty of all the crimes suggested, aren't you interested in, getting on the trail before it gets a little too cold?
Well, look how long you wait before justice is served anyway. Appeals and stuff run 7, 11 years. Look at Gacy. He's still waiting on death row. I mean, isn't there plenty of time to see if the other guy's going to talk? This guy's already been convicted of one murder already, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so his appeal is going to last 7, 11 years, right?
And again, in the meanwhile, you don't give a damn about those families who would like answers.
I
would like to know if their kids are dead or alive, or living in New York.
The question is what kind of person those kids were, homosexual or black or white, doesn't make no difference. No, I don't.
Well, apparently it must make a difference because there are all these families out there that would like to know if their kids are dead or alive.
Right, and I think that they shouldn't. I think they should know. But, I mean, how long is it going to take to...
But if it takes another 5, 10, 15 years, what the hell? It's going to smell up your nose. You're not sitting home wondering if your kid's alive.
How long is it going to take to bring this other guy to trial?
Bringing the other guy to trial, sir, does not necessarily answer the question as to whether or not those people are dead.
Well...
Does it?
Well, I don't know. That's kind of hard to say, isn't it?
It's not hard to say at all, sir. Off it is to the north side. North, you're on the air at WLS.
Yes, sir. This is Bert. How's everything tonight? Hello?
Go ahead, Bert.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering, and I didn't catch the whole show, but I understand that you're opposed to the death penalty.
No, you don't understand any such thing, Bert.
I don't understand it?
No, you don't. I've never said that.
Okay, you're not opposed to it?
I'm opposed to the way that it's used. That's what I'm opposed to, Bert.
Okay. You're just opposed to the way it's carried out, then?
No, sir, I'm opposed to the way it is used.
The way it's used, so it's the way it's administered to... You feel it's administered like...
I'm opposed, Bert, to the way it is used. It is not used consistently.
Okay. I was just wondering, sir, I'm just asking a general question. I'm not asking for your specific address or anything. Do you feel that the neighborhood or the area in which you live, do you feel it's a safe area, or do you feel worried when you go to bed at night, or...
No, I don't worry when I go to bed at night.
You don't? Well, I'm talking from my own personal experience here. I do worry when I go to bed at night.
Then I'd move if I worried when I went to bed at night.
Well, the thing is, if I could afford to do it, I would.
Well, I beg your pardon, sir. If you have a legitimate concern for your life, and now you're telling me it's a matter of dollars and cents, you must be some kind of an idiot.
Well,
because if you were genuinely concerned for your life, sir, you'd move.
Well, if I could afford to move, I would. It's a shame though that a lot of people can't afford.
Oh, I see, sir. You don't even have any value for your own life.
Okay, why don't I move to Lake Forest then? I'll buy a $2 million house up there. Mm-hmm. And when I can't afford,
there are lots of places, sir. There are lots of places, sir, besides the Lake Forest and $2 million homes where a person might feel secure.
I can't afford to move anywhere safe on my income at this time.
Really? Nowhere in the world can you live on your income where you would feel safe.
Well, I can move out maybe some farm fields somewhere, but I wouldn't have a job.
Well, then, sir, you're lying to me about, being in fear of your life.
Well, I tell you what, I'm on the street corner of Chicago right now, and if you were where I was at, you'd feel pretty upset too, I think.
Sir, then you're an idiot for being there.
You are. Okay. Well, I tell you what, it's just funny that you made fun of the guy that's making allegedly $27,000 a year, but it's funny that you're on AM radio at Saturday nights at 10:30 in the morning. If you were like so high and mighty or so intelligent, how come you don't have a morning talk show with like the traffic people?
A morning talk show with a traffic people?
Well, talking about traffic and making $300,000 a year, messing around with chicks instead of hanging around with people like me yelling at them on the phone. I mean,
maybe I get my kicks out of it, sir.
Do you really? Well, I'm glad I called in to make you feel important tonight.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I hope you have a pleasant evening.
5918900. Glenn Ellen. Hi, Glenn. You're on the air at WLS.
Hello, Bob.
Hi.
Right. After a hard day of bill collecting, I like to come home and listen to you. I just like to say that dead air time you gave, some of the best radio you've done since you've been in Chicago. But I want to talk about this Larry Eyler situation. I look at serial killers and I look at the thrill kill culture. It seems to me that this whole this thrill kill and serial murder is just endemic to the white people, and I'm a little curious about that. You don't see any black rapists, serial rapists. You don't see any black Gacy's or Specks or black Mansons. I think there's inherently some problems with you white people that needs to be worked out. But onto a lighter subject now.
Well, how would you work them out?
Well, see, I'm just a bill collector, Bob.
Yeah, I know, but you said they need to be worked out. How would you work them out?
Well, I leave it to great minds such as you and Don Wade and Russ.
Well, I don't know how to work it out, so I'm asking you, how would you work it out?
Well, let's move on to something like
No, let's not. Let's finish up with this. You said it needs to be worked out. What do you mean?
Well, probably some workshops, seminars, to find out what is exactly going on, why you have no black serial killers or black serial kill cults, and we have to look at it from that standpoint. It's something in your upbringing. I don't know what it is, but I really caught.
But you know it's something in the upbringing.
Right. I really caught to talk about something else, Bob.
Then why is it you talk about? This would be the third thing. Why did you talk about two other things that you didn't want to talk about?
Well, I'm just throwing.
Aren't you very swift?
I'm just. I'm throwing out topics, Bob, because
Well, that's not what you said you were doing. You said that's not what I called to talk about.
Unless you want to go back to your dead air time, but I want.
What about my dead air time?
I thought that was classic.
Great. Yes, it is classic. Very few other people have the nerve to do that.
Yes, I know that's what you thought. I know you thought.
No, but
that
I thought it has to be the truth.
I know you think you're the Andy Kaufman of talk show hosts.
Andy Kaufman of talk show hosts? No, I don't think of.
I think Andy Kaufman was.
Care for Andy Kaufman.
Didn't he wash his clothes while he did his stand-up routine to read Shakespeare? That's a new act for you. Why don't you read Shakespeare for the whole 4 hours of your show? You thought about that?
No, I don't like Shakespeare.
Yeah, but what I want to talk about is the lack of...
you sure it's what you want to talk about now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about things that...
You weren't sure the first couple of times.
Yeah. Well, see, I was about to fall asleep, and I decided to give you a call about Yeah, what I want to talk about is the lack of black professional females in Chicago. Have you noticed it?
No, I haven't.
There is a void. A young man such as myself, I can't seem to find any professional black females. What do you recommend?
Are you trying to turn this into a dating show or something? You'd like to solicit women for you?
That might be a new aspect of your show.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like a love.
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of black professional women out there just drooling over your wit and charm and your glib manner. If they'd like to call up, I guess we could put them in touch with you.
But did you know I was only 23 years old?
I'd tell you the truth. You may find this hard to believe. I don't really think about you.
You don't?
No, I've never gone home and just said, gee, I wonder how old he is.
Like the previous caller, I'm just concerned about why a man of such grandeur and such stature as yourself would be on the phone at 10:30 at night talking to just Joe Blows out there.
Because I really get a kick out of it, sir. I love working at night.
What do you expect?
Talk radio at night is just a whole different animal, and I'm somewhat of a masochist myself. I actually enjoy it.
Have you convinced yourself of that? Do you really believe that, Bob?
Sir, yes, I do believe it, because my contract had to be amended for this to happen.
Your contract?
Yeah, my contract had to be amended. It could only be done with my permission.
You know what you remind me of, don't you, Bob?
No, I haven't the vaguest idea, sir.
You remind me of the kids in high school, those fat nerds. They didn't have any friends, and they used to develop these big lies about what their fathers
I don't give a damn, sir, whether or not you believe me. I was just giving you the courtesy of a response. You think I care if you believe me? Nah.
This is WLS, Talk Radio 890.
WLS, Chicago.
The time at the tone is 11 o'clock.
A week ago, we had two mothers kidnapped, one of them brutally murdered, had 4 children, and the guy's been on parole about 3 months. And, if we'd lock him up and keep him locked up, then that'd be one thing.
What do you mean the guy's been on parole for 3 months?
Been on parole for 3 months. That's correct.
What do you mean? On parole for what?
for assault with a deadly weapon and for armed robbery and for rape.
Well, sir, it's not my fault that the good citizens in the state of Texas do not wish to build prisons large enough to hold their criminals, nor is it my fault that the good citizens in the state of Texas don't try to figure out why their people do that kind of stuff.
Right. I'm not gonna fight that one with you because I agree that's an issue there that needs to be addressed.
Well, because you guys are cheap and short-sighted is no reason to support the death penalty.
Say it again, Bob. I couldn't hear you.
Because you guys are cheap and short-sighted is no argument in favor of the death penalty.
Well, that really has nothing to do with the death penalty. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I agree with what you said a moment ago. Some crimes are so heinous that the death penalty is what needs to be done. And I agree with you across the board. In fact, I've driven for about an hour and a half listening to you. I'm surprised I agree with you. But I do agree with you on that, it's not revenge, though. It's preventative maintenance, just making sure that it doesn't break down again.
Well, sir, there are lots of ways of doing that. It's revenge. Just be honest with yourself. It's revenge.
Well,
it's
that's
not
your
preventative
opinion.
maintenance.
That part is your opinion. Now, let me say one more thing, and I'll hang up because I've been holding for a long time. You said you weren't kidding with us a while ago. That was a great thing. I'm going to read I'm going to sit here and not talk to anybody until the boards are full. You said you weren't kidding, but you really were kidding, Bob, because you made us think that you could read. You said, I'm reading the paper. And surely from listening to you, you had to be kidding when you said that.
No, sir, I've been able to read well enough to know to stay the hell out of Texas. Rogers Park, hi, you're on the air at WLS.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you about the criminal justice system in the United States. You were talking about it first, we need to prevent crime in the United States. Why is it so high? And I think...
Well, didn't you ever wonder?
Yes, I do wonder, and I'd like to talk about that. I think the main reason is since we're such a highly industrialized country, we're, bound to have problems that are going to cause social problems in the United States. For instance, you have people on the streets who are trying to survive, and they have to turn to crime to feed themselves.
There are lots of highly industrialized societies that don't have anywhere near the incarceration rate that we have. For example, the United Kingdom, very highly industrialized
I think
society.
One of the reasons that they don't is because they don't publicize it. Like you said earlier, they don't make a big deal. They don't make a big deal about their crime like we do. We like to put on a big show about it. And for instance, hijacking.
Our incarceration rate, sir, is 5 times higher than in the United Kingdom. 5 times.
Right. I understand. And what I'm saying is that in the United States, the media treats crime like a circus. They like to put, all the big stories on the news and that. And for some minds, that's a way of getting some kind of attention. Not for all, but for some. And in the United Kingdom, they try to keep that at a lower key. They treat it more like a news story instead of a media event. And so it's not such a big deal.
It's the media's fault.
Excuse me?
It's the media's fault.
I didn't say it was the media's fault. I said that's part of it. There's a lot of factors in our country that contribute to that, and that is part of it, I do believe. The way we sensationalize a lot of things. I think unemployment has something to do with it. People who steal and that, I think, do it, for survival. I think...
Lots of countries, sir, have unemployment rates far in excess of ours.
Okay. I think also part of it is, take some of the countries. You wanted to talk about South Africa. You brought that.
I didn't want to talk about South Africa.
Excuse me? I don't want to talk about it. What I'm saying is that you said that South Africa has a lower incarceration rate than we do.
Yeah.
But their military is I don't know how to say this. It's not stronger than us, but it has a more direct role than ours does, so that people know, well, we could be shot, for instance, in the Bantustan and stuff like that.
Well, there's not a great deal of risk of being shot by the military committing crimes in the white neighborhoods, and the white neighborhoods don't have the crime rate that we have either.
Okay, well...
So it's not the Army coming in and shooting you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I won't claim to be an expert in that then. But I think in an industrialized country like we have, with so many different people and with such a large population, I think that you're bound to have a high crime rate like we have.
Well, again, sir, it just doesn't play in the other countries. It just doesn't play that way. 591-8900, 591-8900. This time it is to Glenview. Hi, Glenn, you're on the air, WLS.
Yeah, hi, Bob. I'm listening to the show, and I've got some things to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, one thing is now with this death penalty thing, you know, I did have a hard time sleeping, and then we reinstated the death penalty, and frankly, I'm sleeping a lot better. I know hostile murder, it's wrong.
You're sleeping a lot better, even though there are far more murders today than there were 10 years ago. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I don't know. This is just how I feel, and let me just finish real quick. You know, I feel like the hostile murder, that's completely wrong. But I think preventative murder with the actual death penalty, not bearing the results that it has had, I feel it somewhat it's right. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
Oh, you're Jewish, too.
I somewhat feel that.
You're Jewish.
Excuse me.
You're Jewish?
No.
Then why are you quoting the Mosaic Law? Why not Christian law?
I happen to be very well informed in religions. I don't just concentrate on one eye.
Oh, I see. I see. So you reject the teachings of Jesus Christ.
I'm a well-educated person.
You reject the teachings of Jesus Christ.
I accept all teachings, and
you reject the teachings of Jesus Christ, though, in terms of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
I respect them all.
But you reject it.
I could reject it, and I could also respect it. I don't want to get
trying to,
beliefs. Can I get back to the issue on the death penalty?
Well, wait a second. You're the one that brought them up.
I was just trying to make it sound a little bit better.
No, you're trying to justify with some hocus pocus out of the Bible, thinking that would shut me up and stop me dead in my tracks. But unfortunately, I happen to know the material a little bit better than you do.
All right, I was caught. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are.
I just have one more thing to say. Well, this is actually a little more than one thing. Just one thing with this death penalty. You know, there's such a big hype and hoopla and all these National Enquirer publicized. People buy this stuff. And one thing I feel like, as gross as it may be, the government could actually capitalize on these death penalties, which we could have, I don't know, they could actually film this and charge it. I know it sounds gruesome, and charge people to actually watch these and then use the money to prevent further crimes. And morally, it's not 100% correct, but I think it's got possibilities where something could actually work out, where they can put the money to prevent these further crimes and give money to these people who are causing these crimes.
Give money to the people causing the crimes?
Yeah, the money that is raised from this type of public viewing. Someone mentioned public hanging. That's a little bit too gruesome for me, but maybe just a lethal.
Well, besides, you couldn't watch it over and over again, but if you had those tapes, you could.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not really too gruesome for you. It's just that you can't replay it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah. And I feel that I think it could work. It's got possibilities. You've heard of pay-per-view. I know I'm embarrassed to even say it, but I think something pay-per-view.
No, you're not. Come on, you're not embarrassed to say it.
All right, I'm not embarrassed. I'm actually kind of proud. I think it's an idea that can actually work, and I think it's something the United States should think about. We capitalize on many things, and this is the land of opportunity. And if someone were to take this in their own hands, there's video cameras, and do something like this. I think it could work, and I think it's something that should be considered. What's your opinion? Do you feel I'm out of line?
591-8900, 591-8900. To the south side we go. Hi there, South. You're on the air, WLS.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Rob. I was listening just a few minutes ago, and before I make my comment, do you have to be a certain religion to talk to you?
No, ma'am. You just have to not try to pull the wool over my eyes. And quote Mosaic Law when you...
I can't hear you.
You just have to not try to quote Mosaic Law if you're going to pretend otherwise to be a Christian.
Oh, well,
because I have to know which side of the Bible it's on.
Things to spout me. I just didn't know whether you had to be...
No, ma'am, you're trying to be clever and cute. You never suspected for a moment that you had to be a particular religion to call in. You never suspected that for a moment. Just trying to be cute.
Sure, because the people, when they say something to you, you want to know whether they're Jewish or Christian. I didn't know whether you had to...
Well, you see, ma'am, if somebody is Jewish, then it would be foolish of me to try to point out to them that they were quoting biblical law from a portion of the Bible that they don't believe in. So, if he had said he was Jewish, then I would have certainly had no argument with him whatsoever. But if he tells me he's Christian, then I find it interesting that he rejects the words of Jesus Christ.
Oh. Yeah. Well, it would be like quoting something from a newspaper. You may not necessarily believe it, but it was in a newspaper, so you're just repeating it for point of conversation. But what I called you to tell you was that I personally agree with you about the victims' rights thing. I just think you have to take it one step further, because I do believe that the criminal himself is a victim. I think basically most professionals feel that the person who commits a violent crime is a victim of violence himself. So I think rather than spending the money to put these people to death, maybe we should spend the money to try to save them, to help them emotionally. You know, if we're really concerned about the victim, the killer is as much a victim as the people that he killed. Another comment I'd like to make real quick is you say that here in the United States we have more people incarcerated than you do in, let's say, China or Russia or even South Africa. And I think that's kind of hard to tell. For instance, Tiananmen Square, when they have criminals in China, they run over them with tanks. And if you have criminals in Russia prior to Glasnost, they sent them off to Siberia. And certainly in South Africa, just like the gentleman said a little while ago, they just shoot them. So it's kind of hard to make a comparison there about how many numbers we have here in the United States, don't you think?
No, ma'am. All three countries that you...
I can't hear you.
Isn't that convenient? All of the countries that you mentioned keep very accurate records. And
all
have,
the countries are what?
Yeah, they have very accurate records. They have criminal justice systems.
I mean, if China runs over their folks on TV, what makes you think that they're going to be honest with you about how many folks are in jail?
Well, geez, and I guess I might question the figures out of America too, because this country sets dogs on its citizens and gasses them occasionally and beats them with clubs occasionally.
Well, no, I didn't say that. I just said you can't make statistical comparisons. In fact, it's
yes, you can make statistical comparisons, ma'am. You can make statistical comparisons.
Hello?
Goodbye. This time it is, let's see here, the North Side. Hi there, North. You're on the air at WLS.
Hi. The reason we have as much crime as we do in this country is because of the mentality of the people that have been calling your show tonight. They see nothing wrong with killing or watching or, my God, that young man who said we should charge people to watch it? Isn't that the same as committing the act? If you have lust in your heart.
To my way of thinking it is, but then I suppose you and I are in somewhat of a minority.
I mean, such bloodlust I'm hearing from these people. No wonder they're, George Bush can say, we'll go kick ass. It just seems to me until people stop thinking that any kind of killing is right, then we'll continue to have it. And the lady who was just on from the South Side.
Well, one second, if I might interject. I basically disagree with you. I can justify capital punishment. What I can't justify is reveling in it. That's what I can't justify.
And these people, oh my goodness, they sound like they would just... they're incredible. There's barely a one that isn't contributing to the amount of crime in our country. And I recommended that lady the paper, tomorrow's Tribune, in which it says that we have more people in jail than any other country in the world. And I read somewhere a couple of weeks ago that in Britain, in all of 1990, they had 8 murders by gun. And I think in this country there were something like 8,000. So until we get rid of our bloodlust, we're going to keep on having this kind of crime. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 591-890-591-8900.
Monday morning in the friendly neighborhood breakfast diner with Don Wade and Roma.
How many families in Chicago have been falsely accused of child abuse? It could happen to you. That would be you. Also, why would you deliberately mix soap with your food? Thousands do.
Monday morning, set your clock radio and join us, your buddies, Don Wade and Roma, in the Wild and Woolly Breakfast Diner, WLS Talk Radio 890.
It's a great new week of savings at the Buyers Flea Market. More bargains, extra savings, and a bigger selection of merchandise than ever before. Personalized service from hundreds of dealers. See why millions of Chicagoans have made the Buyers Flea Market their favorite place to save on antiques, stereos, TVs, records and tapes, auto and band supplies, the latest fashions in clothing and shoes for the entire family, cosmetics, housewares, hardware, tools, furniture, musical instruments, army surplus, plants and produce too. Plenty of free on-premises parking or take the CTA buses to the door. The huge 8-acre indoor-outdoor Buyers Flea Market is open every Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. 4545 West Division, 2 blocks east of Cicero Avenue. Good food and refreshments, a children's Kiddieland, and a helpful staff of personnel. Bigger savings than a discount store, and a bigger selection than a department store. The Buyers Flea Market, 4545 West Division Street, 2 blocks east of Cicero Avenue. Open every Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., where everything you need costs less.
Attention, Paul Harvey fans. The rest of the story is now available on home video. For the first time ever, Paul Harvey brings you his favorite surprise ending stories in a fascinating new hour-long video. From presidents and politicians to sports heroes and movie stars, every story is entertaining, amusing, sometimes unbelievable, but always factual. These real-life mysteries are guaranteed to challenge your wit and to tease your brain. You'll love retelling them to your friends, children, and even grandchildren. Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story will make a special addition to your video collection for many years to come. At only $19.95, it's a great gift, and your satisfaction is guaranteed. So order yours today through this special radio offer. Call now 1-800-553-9999 for Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story home video. It's just $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Use your credit card and call 1-800-553-9999 for Paul Harvey's new video. That's 1-800-553-9999.
Chicago's 50,000-watt talk station, WLS, Talk Radio 890. From 312 and 708, dial 591-8900. 591-8900. Now, here is Bob Lassiter.
Off it is this time to the north side. Hi there, North. You're on the air at WLS.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Good to talk to you tonight, and I enjoy your show. I guess I was thinking about crime and the causes. I think one of the reasons why crime is increasing is that, for one thing, we're not doing very much with the criminals that are caught. They're released to repeat, and I think this really makes the crime rate soar.
Oh, yeah, man. Somebody's going to go out and stick up a gas station for $122 so that he can go through the grief and agony of, 9 or 10 months in jail.
Well, I guess I'm looking at the statistics. It's simply that there are many repeat offenders.
Yes, there are, man. There are many repeat offenders, but they're not repeating because it's such a great deal.
Oh, I didn't say that. I agree with you. I don't think they think in terms of the consequences. If they were able to think in terms of the consequences, I don't think they would be repeaters. Then I think that drugs and alcohol contribute to...
Except for dancing around, there are primarily 3 causes of crime. Greed, which would usually be your white-collar kind of crime or shoplifting, that kind of stuff. Greed. Mm-hmm. There are people who are just mentally unbalanced. They would be basically your serial killers and your serial rapists and things like that.
But you know what?
And then there's the third, by far and away the largest category of criminals, people who just don't fit in, people who just don't have any dreams, people who don't have any hope of ever living the American dream, so they have nothing better to do with their lives than commit crimes.
Uh-huh. Well, I wouldn't challenge any of that. I think that's...
Well, it seems to me then the solution to our crime problem, or obviously there's no solution to a crime problem, but the direction in which we might head in order to lower the crime statistics, instead of wondering about, whether or not capital punishment is deterrent or longer prison sentences are deterrent, or finding ways to bring those tens of millions of Americans in this country who are not part of it into the center.
Well, of course that's true, and then I think it also has to start with the family and early education. I don't think that the homes can be value-free and live by situational ethics and not produce a very scary kind of person.
Would you care to give me situational ethics, a key word here? It's usually a buzzword.
Yeah.
Would you care to give me an example of...
Well, doing whatever the moment calls for, you know. If a person has the opportunity to take something and isn't going to be observed, well, then perhaps they
stealing is always wrong.
Well, yes, it should be.
Okay. How about if you and your family were driving across the country and you were in North Dakota and got stuck in a really bad snowstorm and you were miles and miles and miles away from anywhere, but you saw a cabin about 300 yards away from the car. Nobody was in the cabin, but you peeked through the windows and you saw that the cabin was stocked, but of course you'd have to break in and steal. You wouldn't do that. You'd rather you and your family starve to death.
I hear what you're saying. But I don't mean to say that. I don't mean to say that I wouldn't pay them back or leave a note.
Well, I hear what you're saying too, and what you're basically telling me is religion is the answer, and religion is not the answer.
Oh no, I don't
Jobs
believe in
are
religion.
the answer.
I don't believe in religion, so I'm not.
Funny, it's usually only the fundamentalists who would say something so ridiculous as that. Situational ethics. All ethics are situational.
No, I don't know what you mean by that. I do believe in Jesus, but I do live a Christian lifestyle, but I don't.
Yeah, well, it's not a Christian lifestyle that's the answer. It's jobs.
Yes, jobs
are
the answer.
Jobs and breaking down the class barriers in this country.
People have to live, and they all.
But as long as we fool ourselves thinking that Jesus is the answer, and if more people accepted Jesus, there'd be less crime. There's going to be more crime.
That's fine, but I think what you're doing is painting with a real broad brush, and I don't want to criticize.
No, I'm painting with a very small, fine tip brush, man.
That's fine too. That's fine too if you want to do that. But I think jobs are important and giving people the basics of life, but that doesn't preclude believing in Jesus. And I do believe in him, and I do think people would be much better.
Well, believe in Jesus all you want, ma'am. I applaud your belief in Jesus, but I would also suggest you believe in getting rid of some of the class distinctions in this country instead of praying for solutions. Work for them. The Lord help those who help themselves. To the northwest side we go. Northwest, you're on air, WLS.
Bob, how are you this evening?
Fine, thank you.
Getting back to the original concept of the show, you're talking about should they allow this man to plea bargain in response to curing some crimes. Twice in my this is kind of hard even to talk about. Once at work, we had a fellow that came in off the street, came upstairs where we work, and accosted another fellow that was sitting at the desk. He took and he was hungry. He was a vagrant, and he took the man and he choked him, put a spoon in his mouth, and poured hand soap in his mouth. Stole the man's shoes and stole his lunch and left. This crime went for the longest time without being solved. And one of the fellows at work was the only person there working with him at the time was a chief suspect. And it ruined this poor man's health so bad it was a chief suspect. This other fellow was in jail, and he says, he's talking to this psychiatrist at Cook County. Yeah, he says, about 4 years ago, he says, I did this and did that. And then they solved the crime. They gave him a little plea bargain. Another time, in a good friend of ours, one of the nicest women in the entire world, with a real good family, had a son lived in Printers Row. His name was Larry. We liked him very much. We loved his family very much. He got killed. His crime went unsolved for the longest time until they captured a person who was a cat burglar. And because of the fact they allowed this man to plea bargain himself to a lighter sentence, solved Larry's crime. But that went on for almost 7 years.
Well, you see, that's my entire point. Capital punishment could be a deterrent if it were used every time somebody was tried and convicted of killing or trying to kill someone else. As far as I'm concerned, when you pour soap down someone's throat and try to gag them with a spoon, you're trying to kill them. That, to me, is attempted murder. That, to me, is a capital crime. When you're in a bar and you get into a fight and you hit somebody over the head with a beer bottle, you're trying to kill him. That, to me, is attempted murder, a capital crime. That would be a deterrent. But unfortunately, most people can see themselves hitting somebody else over the head with a beer bottle.
But what I was going to get to was the point was what it did to the people that were concerned with it. This family, Larry's family, went the longest time wondering what in the hell happened and what could have done this to him. And this other fella at work, to this day, still suffers from the fact that he was accused of this crime and was taken down and grilled for like 20 hours by the police department. And it bases down to what value do we put on life and to what value do we put on our own social situations. And I'm telling you, Bob, I appreciate your show. I'm one of your best fans, and hey, buddy, keep it up.
Thank you much. 591-8900-591. 8900. This time it is Highland. Hi there. Hi, you're on the air at WLS.
Yeah, who, Bob?
Yeah.
Hi, I happen to live in one of those $2 million houses in Lake Forest, and I'm still not feeling safe. Basically, I was listening to the caller earlier ago talking about pay-per-view executions, and I don't think you really gave him a fair shake with this. I don't know about pay-per-view, but
I beg your pardon, sir. I allowed him to talk as long as he wanted.
Well, what I'm saying, okay, well...
The only when he indicated he was through talking.
Okay, well, what I think...
So why, first of all, did you tell the board operator that you're calling from Highland, Indiana, if you live in one of those $2 million homes?
No, it's...
and why did you accuse me of not giving... And why did you accuse me of not giving the young man all the rope he needed?
Well, it seemed that he brought this up, and then it seemed like he went right on. Okay, but anyways, I said I was from Lake Forest, and then I heard a big fizzle on the phone, and I decided it was probably me. So anyways, I did tell her it was Lake Forest. Nevertheless, though, instead of a pay-per-view, perhaps, we could put an execution on...
What's the name of the main street in Lake Forest?
Pardon me?
What's the name of the main street in Lake Forest?
Main Street.
Main Street?
That's one of them.
One of them. Well, what's the name of the main street in Lake Forest?
Sir, Bob, it doesn't really matter. The whole point...
Yeah, it matters a great deal if you're going to lie about things that are, trifling and of no consequence. It matters a great deal.
Why is that important to you, Bob? Let me just go on.
It's not important to me, sir. I'm just trying to demonstrate to the rest of the people listening that everything you have to say is, really suspect. That's all, sir.
Well, I think everything all of us have to say...
It's kind of a game. It's one of the reasons I love to work at night. It's a game I play. I listen very carefully. I'm a frustrated trial attorney is what it really amounts to. And I just love to discredit people.
Main Street happens to be a big street in Lake Forest.
Mm-hmm.
If you come out there, I'll even take you on a little tour. But anyways, I was thinking that if we, instead of putting this thing on pay-per-view, if we put it on the cable access, like on Channel 3, this way everyone can get a look at what an execution looks like. And I think that if some of the younger people looked at it, like the 5-year-olds, the 6-year-olds, the kids, right before they start getting into the crack and into the drugs, into the murder, that maybe it will make a difference. You ever see that Scared Straight show? Where they take these kids into a penitentiary and they act like they're criminals? They come out of there scared straight. And I guarantee it's changed their lives. Now, if we put some of these public executions on the cable channel, I really believe it would make a difference.
Right, sir. All these kids have never seen death before. No, these people that live in those neighborhoods and in those areas where these things are happening all the time, they've never seen death. No, showing them some death, that'll take care of it.
You show a guy flying in a chair.
Especially on Channel 3, so you don't have to pay for it.
Well, you show it on whatever the channel. You show it to some kids. You show them someone frying, and it's going to make a difference. It's not like the Sunday cartoons.
No.
It's not like the cop show.
No, it's not like, the movies they go to.
It's not. It's real.
Right. Of course, they'll know that it's real.
And I think when these kids see someone from real flesh and blood going, it will make a difference. It may make too much.
It didn't make a difference when they used to do it before.
I don't remember any public executions on television, Bob.
Well, no, they were in the public square. People would pack picnic lunches and put on their Sunday best and go watch them.
Well, as you said,
if I haven't $dollars today and thought I had a fair chance of getting away with it, I would have done it. But I'm not going to steal $200 because I've got too much to lose. And that's why you didn't steal anything today, is because you have too much to lose. And one of the problems that we have in this country right now is that we have too many people who have nothing to lose. So they'll go for a quick whoopee and rape somebody. They'll go for a quick $150 down at the gas station because they just don't have anything going for them, man.
Okay, so what's your solution? Gareth?
Yeah, getting them something going for them.
And how's that going to happen? Just going to do it? You think there's a motive for them? I mean, do you think like robbing somebody for $200 is easier, or riding on the welfare train is easier than getting a job?
Riding on the welfare train?
Or anything like that.
Yeah, how much money do you get in the state on welfare?
Not enough.
Not enough?
Well, I know that. I know it's not, it's not much. Nothing to boast over.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, in order to create more jobs in this country, we'd have to do a lot of things. Primarily, we'd have to